Film with family. They love the family, they love the movies.
Welcome to Film with Family.
Is that David Attenborough?
Richard Attenborough?
Yeah. Richard Attenborough's David's brother.
I know. Just figured this out.
Welcome to Film with Family. I'm Zach.
And I'm Austin.
And we are two cousins who like to talk about movies. And this is a special episode. We weren't planning on doing this episode, but we just both happened to see Jurassic Park, the 30th anniversary re-release in theaters in 3D.
For National Cinema Day.
Yeah, you saw it on National Cinema Day. I saw it the day after National Cinema Day. But yeah, we felt like, well, let's get on the mic and let's talk about it.
Yeah, it was a special experience. This is one of the great films of all time. Cinematic masterpiece. Pure cinema magic, I would say.
There it is. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
The most phenomenal discovery of our time
How'd you do this?
becomes the greatest adventure of all time.
Can I touch it?
Sure.
Universal Pictures presents
You feel that?
Hold on to your butts.
a Steven Spielberg film.
Fences are failing all over the park. Yeah, that's nice. Gotta go.
An adventure
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
It's the peak of cinema.
It really is. I mean, when you think of movies, when you think of summer movies, you can't talk about it without Jurassic Park being in there. It's up there with Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind.
It's just a capital M movie. Came out in 1993, a year after I was born.
Oh, wow.
But this movie holds a very special place in my heart. I watched it a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think this is my first time ever seeing in theaters, I believe. I think there's been like re-releases of it in the past. I think there was a 3D re-release in like 2013 or something, but I don't remember going to that.
Yeah, I missed that.
So this is its second round doing the 3D thing in the theaters, but boy, what an experience.
Do you remember the first time you saw it?
I don't know. I don't remember. I must have just watched it at home when I was a boy, and I just watched it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was addicted to it. And I was like kind of like a lizard kid anyway, or like dinosaurs anyway. So it was right up my alley. I had a couple pet lizards, which are, they're like little tiny dinosaurs. Charmander, and maybe the other one was just Penny. That was before Charmander. It kind of could like frill out its neck.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like a little like red like neck. I love those little guys.
I had a little iguana too when I was growing up.
You did?
Yeah, his name was Ajax. And we put him in the upstairs study room when I lived in Park Ridge. And sadly, one day we went in there and he just had completely dried out. Like he was completely dehydrated and died. And it was a tragic, very a formative, morbid moment for my childhood. And we buried him in a tea box back in the backyard.
Jesus.
R.I.P. Ajax.
Wait, how long did he have him?
Probably like a month.
He had one good month before he dried out.
Yeah, poor Ajax. The room was just too hot for him. But we thought we'd put him in a room that had a lot of sunlight because he's a damn iguana.
Yeah, they can handle the hot. They're in the fucking equator.
Yeah, but apparently not this guy. Anyways.
Yeah. Lizard talk, dinosaur talk. It's all on the table today.
Yeah, I remember seeing this movie in the theater when it first came out when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Nice. Did he go with your mom or your dad?
I mean, I must have. I don't remember. I remember going in being warned by my parents that, you know, it might be scary. You know, I think it's a PG-13 movie, right? Or is PG?
I think it's 13.
Yeah, it's PG-13. So, you know, to take a 7-year-old kid to go see a PG-13 movie is, you know, you gotta give a little bit of a warning there. Yeah, I almost want to call my dad and ask him if he remembers taking me. Call out.
We all know Glenn loves to be called out.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, what's up?
Just a quick question. Do you remember taking me to see the original Jurassic Park?
I don't.
Okay, thanks.
Should I?
Do you have any thoughts on Jurassic Park?
I just, you know, it got old after the first one.
Yeah, but we're talking about the original because it's back in theaters.
I think the original was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Love you, Dad.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
That's that. So no information there.
But, you know, sometimes these call-ins don't always work. Maybe they'll be edited out. We'll never know.
I have this distinct memory in my head of watching the movie and being like, I can't believe this is fake.
Yeah.
I was so stunned by it. And
Wow.
I think that was like the first moment in my head where I think the idea of like movie magic really clicked with me, where it was like, this is what movies do, is they transport you to a world that doesn't exist, but makes you believe that it does exist.
Yeah. That really reminds me of the scene in The Fabelmans, how The Fabelmans begins with Steven Spielberg seeing the train crash and him just like being shocked by the magic of movies. And it's like, this, like, they really did this. Like, he's like, his little brain couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm. And to a degree, there is a scene in the movie when John Hammond, Richard Attenborough's character, the creator of Jurassic Park,
the Oppenheimer,
who also makes a cameo in this movie,
yes.
Which I was like, what the fuck? I can't escape this guy.
He's been here all along, Austin. We just didn't know it until Christopher Nolan let us know.
But Richard Attenborough says something like, you know, when I was a kid, I made these like flea circuses, and you would imagine in your head that they were walking on tight ropes and going on carousels and all of that.
People would say they could see the fleas. Oh, I can see the fleas. Mummy, can't you see the fleas? But with this place, I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch.
I think it's such a perfect metaphor for what the movie is actually doing. Like when I hear him saying that, that is Spielberg's thought process, I think, in making this movie. It was like, I want to bring these dinosaurs to life for people. And he did it.
And it looks great.
It sure does. Still does 30 years later.
Yeah. How do you feel about the 3D of it all? Do you like the 3D presentation?
I loved it. What the 3D does is really magnifies how brilliant of a composer Spielberg is. The way that he composes his shots, there's such depth of field. Even like that very first scene when they're doing the archaeological dig and Alan Grant is like explaining to that kid what a raptor does. You see in the background all these different characters, all these other archaeologists that are just standing behind him and kind of wiping off sweat and with sunglasses and hats on. But they're composed in such a way that the 3D just like brought that out for me. Like I felt like I was seeing all those faces and really being able to take in the composition of the shots in a different way.
Well, I love the scene where they're in that when Alan Grant and the kids are like in that grassy hilly field area, and then you get all those like little like tiny kind of raptor dinosaurs like start the herd of them like starts swarming right at them, and then they hide behind the tree, and then like you see them like all darting like right past them and jumping over the log. Like that looked really good in 3D.
Yeah.
And obviously the iconic kind of one of the final shots of the movie of the T-Rex in the museum doing the roar, and then you get the banner falling down, and like the banner falling in 3D in the foreground looks so fucking good. That actually what started me to get me teary-eyed was that shot of the T-Rex and the banner coming down. I was like, oh my God, movies. This is so much movie. It's so beautiful. The magic of movies is all in that ridiculous shot.
For me, one of the 3D moments that popped out to me, well, a couple, when they're climbing the electric fence, like there's this like worm's eye view shot, the depth there like really felt like you were on the fence with them. The other one that really popped out was when there's the whole Dino DNA animation.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
And John Hammond is talking to himself, and they do a really good job of like, they make what he's pointing to look like the screen you're watching, like the 2D screen. And then he's way out in the foreground. Like he looks like he's in the middle of the theater.
Yeah, he looks like a real person. Like you could really touch John Hammond in that instance.
Another thing about this movie, 1993 is also the year that Steven Spielberg released Schindler's List.
Yeah, what a year. 93, the two biggest movies of his career almost.
That is a colossal achievement to make Jurassic Park, you know, a high watermark in effects, in storytelling, in movie magic, and then also to make the Holocaust movie like in the same year is unreal.
Yeah, I think I heard that he was like editing Jurassic Park while he was shooting Schindler's List. Like working on both movies in the same day. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's remarkable.
But yeah, for me, Jurassic Park is the top. Might be in my top 5 of all time movies, which I don't really have that list, but that's what I came away with. Like, this has got to be in the top 5. This pretty much every scene is iconic. There's not like a single scene where you're like, oh, they should have cut this.
Yeah.
I mean, there is more dialogue scenes than I remembered because it's been like over 10 years since I last saw this movie, I feel like. So there's a lot of scenes I forgot. There's a little less dinosaur stuff than I remember, a little bit more talking like about the ethics of it. But that stuff's still really gripping. It's like this movie has like the same theme as Oppenheimer, the movie we just saw, but it like kind of investigates it way better, like the theme way better than Oppenheimer does. You're so caught up figuring out if you could. You didn't think about if you should.
Don't you see the danger, John, inherent in what you're doing here? Genetic power is the most awesome force the planet's ever seen, but you wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun.
It's hardly appropriate to start hurling generalizations.
If I may, I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
And Nedry, Dennis Nedry, who's played by Wayne Knight, a.k.a. Newman from Seinfeld, he has a picture of Oppenheimer on his computer, on his old-ass Apple computer.
Oh, is that Nedry's computer or is that Samuel L. Jackson's computer? I feel like I saw Samuel Jackson at the computer, but maybe he was.
I think he's that was when
he's working
trying
on
to crack into his
Oh, then he's like, he didn't know the magic word.
Yeah. Who also Wayne Knight killed it in this movie. Like I was laughing
gosh.
a lot at his gags.
His introduction scene is kind of burned in my memory, where he's like in the Hawaiian shirt, like when they're in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
and he's like getting presented like he's gonna be a spy. He's gonna steal the embryos for this guy Dotson.
Mhm.
He's like, we got Dotson here. Dotson. See, nobody gives a shit. He's so funny. And then like what he actually sees, like how the embryo thing is like inside this Barbasol shaving cream container. He's like cackling with glee. It's so fucking good.
Yeah,
I love it.
so
And then like actually squirting out the shaving cream and then putting it on the pie. Like pretty
Yeah.
like every part of that scene is just like burned in my memory. I like loved that scene as a kid for some reason.
And yeah, when he's trying to escape and he gets blasted with the
venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how like its first shot, like it just like gets a little bit of the venom like on his forehead, and he's like, okay, maybe this is not so bad. Then he sprays again, it's like his whole face is covered.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
Burning his
and it's
eyes.
like in the car with him. It's so funny.
It's like a great horror scene too, because it's at night.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a storm going on. It's just straight up horror.
Yeah, that whole sequence when they reveal the T-Rex, when the car gets flipped over and the kids are getting crushed in the car, and just the like blood curdling scream of the T-Rex. And the thing that really stuck out to me this time watching it too was that there's no music during that part. It's just the sound of rain and the T-Rex just stomping around and screams. There's no music like crutching this scene. Like all of the music really just comes in the more uplifting parts, with the iconic score by John Williams, which, to this day is like some of the best, music in a film ever.
Yeah.
But like there isn't a lot of like dun 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 dun, dun like when it's like scary parts, I think like that whole raptor scene when they're in the kitchen, it's like he really is honing in on the sound design of like them like banging up against those steel cabinets and all of that stuff.
That scene always freaked me out as a kid, them hiding in the kitchen from the raptors. I mean, you think the raptors would be able to like sniff them out, but just for filmic tension, can't really beat that scene.
No, it's so good.
He's a master. What can he say?
But who else is great is Stan Winston, who we've talked about on the Predator episode. He made the Predator creature design, and he did all of the dinosaurs as well in this movie.
Like the animatronics.
Yeah, Stan Winston created all of these life-sized dinosaurs. So that T-Rex was actually as big as it looks in the like that is actually like a 9-ton animatronic creature that they created. It is unreal that they fucking created that. Like, where is that thing? That's got to still be around somewhere. Like it.
Yeah, maybe it's at Universal Studios or some shit. I don't know.
They just literally with like a little pen tool etched every single scale into that giant T-Rex. I mean, it's really remarkable.
Yeah, the one that really impresses me, or like really impressed me on this most recent viewing, is the sick Triceratops. Like that just looks like a real fucking dinosaur.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look anything fake about it. It's like, oh, that's real. Like CG animation can never reach what they achieved with that animatronic Triceratops. It's so fucking amazing. And then like it's like even got like the like sick wet teary eyes, and and its tongue looks really good. I don't know how they did that shit.
She like pops that like zit on its tongue. It's like so gross.
Yeah, there's that other scene where she like goes like elbow deep into that big pile of shit. And Jeff Goldblum's like, she's tenacious, huh?
Make sure to wash your hands.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum is so fucking funny in this movie. Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, super funny and like just the sexiest man alive. Like just like so hot.
Like those shirts all open and the track into him, and he looks like a fucking like Greek god.
Yeah, and like the way that he like flirts with Laura Dern. It's like tugging her hair and like caressing her hand and like teaching her chaos theory and stuff. Like,
yeah.
And Laura Dern, of course, is just a goddess in her own right, too. I love Laura Dern. I think it's just so funny how, like, Alan couldn't care less that, like, that, like, Ian Malcolm is just, like, totally macking on his chick, like, right in front of him. And he's just like, I don't give a shit. I'm, like, in a dinosaur playground right now.
Sam Neill, who plays Alan Grant, does such a good job of just being transfixed and in awe of dinosaurs at every instance, even when he's clearly in danger. And the kids have to remind him, like, hey, like, we got to get out of here. You can't just be talking about how amazing it is that they're moving in herds and shit.
With the Brachiosaurus when they're up in the tree, and he like somehow he knows how to call them. Like he's never heard what these dinosaurs sound like. Nobody in the history of humanity knows how they sound, and he's like got the perfect call that like brings them up. But like he's like, don't worry, they're like vegetarians, they won't hurt you. But he's like wrestling with this giant creature with a stick. It's like, dude, that thing could just yank you off the tree to your death like real quick. It's like, yeah, they won't eat you, but they still could kill you.
He hates kids. That's part of why he's so bad at being a babysitter. He's just not even thinking about them at all in any situation, really.
Yeah.
But in the end, he does kind of warm up to him, which is nice. Laura Dern plays Ellie Sattler, a paleobotanist.
Mm-hmm.
So she likes the plants more than the dinos, technically, in terms of her job description.
She's like staring at that leaf when like they see the dinosaurs. She's like, look at this. Look at the veins on this leaf. It's like, dinosaur, 12 o'clock.
Yeah. There's so many good moments like that are just like, it's just a good comedic beat. Him like forcing her head to turn.
Mm-hmm.
Kids do a pretty good job too. They're good at being scared.
Yeah.
You got the nerdy boy.
Yep, Tim. And those kids get the shit kicked out of them in this movie. Tim like gets like crushed in a car. He almost gets hit by the car when it's in the tree, and then the car lands back on top of him. He gets electrocuted with 10,000 volts.
He just like flies off the fence and like falls like 10 feet while also getting. And he's like, whoa.
And he's just like, whoa, yikes. And it's like, dude, that kid is dead for sure. But like, what a bold choice by Spielberg, where he's like, okay, this movie's going to attract a lot of children, and we're going to have the kids. He's going to have the kids suffer the most in this movie. They really take a beating.
Yeah, this movie definitely instilled a deep fear of electric fences in me. Because we had electric fences on our farm for the horses, and I've been zapped by those. But yeah, this just made that experience feel 10 times worse. It kind of triggered something in me.
And in the scene when the T-Rex appears, the way that the T-Rex like comes down on them, and they have like just like that window separating them and the T-Rex, just terrifying. And just wow.
Yeah,
just
and also
wow.
the shot of Jeff Goldblum with the flare running from the T-Rex, like as it's like falling behind him, like that looks so good in 3D. Just seeing Jeff Goldblum in the foreground and the T-Rex trailing behind, and also when Jeff Goldblum's like in the back of the Jeep and he's hurt at this point, and he's like, "Go faster, must go faster,
must go faster, must go faster." Yeah, so good.
Who's your MVP of this movie in terms of the cast?
Goldblum.
Yeah.
Easy
Goldblum. He's so good.
Easy. He looks great. Every delivery is flawless. I mean, it's just peak Goldblum.
Yeah, even like the very first like scene you're introduced to him on the helicopter, he like starts off right away with that ridiculous laugh that's been memed over and over, like that's like literally like he like does that before he says a line. It's like that's his introduction to the character. It's so funny.
So you two dig up dinosaurs?
Well,
Try to. You'll have to get used to Dr. Malcolm.
Are you interested at all in the Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, the Chris Pratt movies?
I've seen them all. I didn't really care for Lost World for whatever reason. Like I never really got it. And yeah, the Chris Pratt ones have some fun stuff, but they're mostly kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the most recent one I think is my favorite just because they bring back the original cast. They bring back Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. And just for the fact that they're back in it, like this movie's good.
Yeah.
Even if this movie sucks, it's still good because these characters are in it and they're doing stuff. And Chris Pratt's role is kind of lowered in that movie. So I was like, I'm having a great time. We got my favorite three people talking about dinosaurs again. That's all I need.
But I mean, they don't hold a candle to this one.
No, but I still enjoy them just because I'm a whore for dinosaur shit.
Or for dino slut. So when the movie came out, it was the most successful film ever. I mean, it really did define like the summer blockbuster. I mean, obviously, technically, Star Wars was like the first blockbuster or whatever, but
or was it Jaws? I know Jaws was kind of people
Jaws too. Yeah, no, that's
like
true.
As a big first summer blockbuster, another Spielberg.
Yep. Yeah, actually, you might be right there. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge box office success. You know, redefined what a summer blockbuster is.
Yeah, the budget is like 63 million, and its box office total is 1.057 billion.
Wow.
So it made its money back.
Yeah.
Big time.
And this weekend, it made like $1 million just in this re-release.
Only $1 million?
Or something like that. I mean, like 1.7 million. I mean, like for a re-release of a movie that's 30 years old, I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Still going up against Barbie and Oppenheimer. You know, those are still in the theaters, and Mission Impossible and everything else. I think that's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You said you got emotional watching it too, or you got a little teary-eyed.
Yeah. When the dinosaurs are first revealed and the music swells,
the Brachiosaurus.
Yeah,
the score plays a big part in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was balling at the very end of the movie when you get the piano version of the theme when they're on the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking out and they're seeing the birds.
Like, yeah, you see the pelican.
Yeah, that's when I just had a lot of tears streaming down my face at that point.
Wow. Yeah, no, and the Triceratops too, like that, like because when they see it, you know, they're so emotional seeing it. Like Laura Dern is crying. Mm-hmm. They're like, "Hey, girl, how are you, girl?" She's like clearly not in good shape.
Yeah, they don't seem. They're just like more amazed that it's like there and we can touch it more than like that it's dying.
Yeah, but it's remarkable. Yeah, it definitely made me emotional. Just thinking about when I was a kid and seeing movies for the first time, and that, like, what a blessing to, you know, be a kid in the 90s seeing this movie in the theater for the first time as anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a remarkable moment for everybody. But as a kid, it was just magical.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that this movie's 30 years old. I'm 30 years old.
Yeah.
I've been around this movie my entire life. It seems like
Yeah.
I've grown up with this movie, so there's like an emotional attachment there to a movie, folks.
Well, yeah. Any other thoughts on Jurassic Park?
Yeah, just that this movie rules and Jeff Goldblum's the best. You know, I don't know if I don't think the Triceratops is my favorite dinosaur in general, but I think it's the best of the movie just because it's the most impressive looking dinosaur to me.
Yeah.
In a movie that all the dinosaurs look good, it's insane that this movie holds up this well visually 30 years later. It's really a testament to how great Spielberg was in that moment. But yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, just all the details, like the way that the T-Rex's eye dilates when it looks through the window just makes it adds so much realism to it.
Yeah, I will say just one more final thought is I love how many scenes that are just kind of about how much the characters are in awe of like the magnificence of these beasts, these creatures.
Yeah.
There's just multiple scenes of the characters just being kind of like speechless with what they're seeing. And I feel like a lot of filmmakers, they're like, we'll have one scene like that. But I like that they keep happening throughout the movie along with the horrifying stuff. So like, so it's just a wonderful roller coaster of emotion. They're amazing. They're horrifying at the same time. It's the beautiful yin and yang of dinosaurs. Spielberg nailed it.
He really did.
Do you think this movie is better than Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
No, doy.
Oppenheimer shouldn't be a movie. So, I mean, there's no comparison.
I was really thinking about it while I was watching it, just because, like, yeah, like these movies are kind of tackling similar questions.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the comparison is right there on screen. You got the guy on screen. I never even considered that until watching it this time. It's like, oh yeah, it's like kind of, this idea of literally creating a monster and pushing science, but also pushing it too far.
You shouldn't have put the frog DNA with the mosquito shit.
Right, yeah.
It turned the females into boys.
Right. But also the science is not accurate. I heard somebody say if you extract blood from a mosquito, you get mosquito blood. Like you do not get dinosaur blood, or it's like if you eat a raw steak, you don't have like cow DNA in you. Like you can't extract cow DNA.
The way the movie presents it, though, you just totally buy it, or like at least I do. I was like, oh yeah, this makes total sense.
Yep.
Perfect science. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely believable. Michael Crichton, based on his book. And again, we talked about Twister. It was after this movie that Michael Crichton got the keys from Spielberg to write his own movie from scratch. And he did Twister.
Good call back to our Twister episode. So yeah, Austin, what is the best Spielberg movie? Is this it? Is Jurassic Park it?
I want to say yes, but I can't really say that I am the biggest Spielberg aficionado, but I know somebody who is. And if you'd allow me, I think that we should call in an expert, Pawn Stars style.
Okay, I'm open to this.
We can't just fanboy out here on a surface level about Jurassic Park and our love of the Fableman. We need to dive a little bit deeper into Spielberg and give him his due, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, let's do it.
All right. So he is one of my very good friends, a former colleague, and a friend of the family. He is a filmmaker, cinematographer, editor, director. You may know him from his short film, The Intern.
With Robert De Niro?
No, it's a short film that he and I made together about 10 years ago. And he is the biggest Steven Spielberg fan I know. So coming to us from North Carolina, Mr. Alex Creager.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing good.
Thanks for including me on a JP pod.
Yeah, absolutely. You are actually our first proper guest on the show who is not directly related to the family. So congratulations on that.
Oh, well, I'm honored. I'm honored for that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're part of the family now.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on.
Popping in.
Yeah, popping in.
Well, I love the show, guys. I'm very honored to seriously be included in this because I do listen to your podcast all the time, and there's been so many times that I'm like, I've got trivia, I've got feedback, I've got something here.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're dropping the ball all over the place.
Damn it, Austin! That's not how you pronounce Brendan Fraser's name.
Oh, we've got, well, speaking of Brendan Fraser. You and I worked on the coming soon documentary about Steve Downes, and we worked together at GalaxyCon, where we saw the meeting between the whale and the chief.
There's the title of your documentary right now, The Whale and the Chief. We were in the room for maybe 120 seconds before that meeting occurred, so we were all like,
yeah, and bringing it back to Spielberg, somebody who was there but that we didn't see was Richard Dreyfuss, which I think was a selling point for you to make the trip out to Raleigh.
You know what? No, it wasn't. And I don't think I would want to meet Richard Dreyfuss, to be totally honest with you. I think I can enjoy it from afar. And I've also heard that Richard can be a little prickly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin. Jaws is my favorite movie. And
I
don't know if I want to watch Jaws and remember, oh yeah, Hooper was really mean.
Yeah.
So you say Jaws is your favorite Spielberg?
Or your favorite movie ever?
Favorite movie and favorite Spielberg. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that answers that question.
Jaws is one of those other ones. It's kind of the same problem you guys had with this one, which is how do you have a discussion on a movie that's perfect? Like, what are you going to talk about? It turns into like the SNL Chris Farley show. Remember the time when the T-Rex came out of the paddock?
This is awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I mean, that's why I was like, we were just gushing. I was like, we gotta dig a little deeper here. So we had to call in the expert. But I mean, so you've already spoiled it. Jaws is the best.
Jaws is the best.
But you have gone on a deep Spielberg dive, and I would love it if you talk to us about your findings there and what you did.
Well, I grew up with Spielberg, so I know that's a very cliched, phoned-in answer of who's your favorite director? Oh, it's Steven Spielberg. But it is. So I recently decided to watch all of his movies in chronological order. And that was leading up to The Fabelmans, because I knew Fabelmans was such a personal story of his. And I thought, you know what, I want to see where he's come from and where he's at now. So starting in January, I sat down and I watched every Spielberg movie. I did not watch the TV movies. He's done a few TV movies prior to Sugarland Express.
Okay.
And Duel. He did a few of those, but they were like made for TV or an episode here and there of a couple shows. I did not watch those, but I did watch all of his feature films.
And his first feature film is Duel, right? It's the movie about the killer trucks.
You know what? I was not expecting to like Duel.
Yeah.
I ended up loving it.
Nice.
It's got this kind of psycho feel to it. The tension is so palpable. I watched the movie and then I wanted to pop in the special features to watch like how they made it or the retrospective discussions on it. I really, really dug it.
My God. I'd like to report a truck driver that's been endangering my life.
My attraction to it wasn't because it was a horror movie and I didn't really see anything about it as a Western. I thought it was just a complete exercise in a cat and mouse game of classic suspense.
So you went Duel to Fabelmans.
Whole thing.
Yeah, was it a good experience? Do you recommend this to people?
I do. I do. You're gonna, you know what? There was some that I didn't want to see. I just didn't. I didn't want to see. Let me pull up my list because I made a list.
Yeah. Do you have
of,
like a ranking?
I do. Yeah. It's okay. Here's another thing about ranking Spielberg films is, am I ranking them on my enjoyment, my likability, or do I rank them on critical appeal? Like this is his best movie, or am I ranking them on movies that I want to watch more than once all the time? I had a hard time doing that. There's some hot takes on here. There's some hot takes. He's interesting because if you look at his body of work, he kind of goes through 2 to 3 movies, often in the same genre or kind of the same feel. Yeah. And I don't know if that's intentional. I never realized it until I sat down to watch them all, where you start to go, all right, he's in his sci-fi phase now. Okay, now he wants to be a serious director. He wants to branch out of doing the popcorn movie. So let's do Color Purple. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah. And then you've got like early 90s, you have kind of back to this popcorn entertainment movies. You've got Last Crusade in 89. Then you've got Hook, which hot take, Hook is not a good movie. I'm just going through that.
What? Put him in the boo box. Dustin Hoffman's great in that. I don't know.
Dustin Hoffman is good. I think what I come back to with Hook is that I wish it picked a lane to be in, whether is this all in his head or is it not all in his head? Right. Because you've got Dustin Hoffman playing the captain of the airplane at the beginning of the movie. So there's your Captain Hook. You've got at the end of the movie, you've got Bob Hoskins showing up as Smee, as the street cleaner. So did this movie happen? I don't know. I like not knowing it. And then even during the climax, the fight between Pan and Hook, Hook even says, you know, you're not Peter Pan. You're a man who drinks too much and doesn't pay attention to his family. So what is happening in this movie? And then when he comes back from Neverland, he's wearing his suit and his tuxedo from the night before. So did he get drunk and fall out the window? I don't know. And then he goes back into the room. Yeah, and then that's the thing. And then you've got Toodles with the marbles, and he flies off. And I'm going, what is going on in this movie?
So Hook's kind of on the bottom of the ranking.
Hook is not on the very, very bottom.
But Hook was the precursor to Jurassic Park. That was the movie he did right before Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways Jurassic Park is a little bit of a course correction, a little bit. And he said Hook is not his favorite movie. So he has said that in recent interviews. I think Jurassic Park was just this perfect storm of ILM, of Stan Winston, of this great novel by Michael Crichton, and that's perfect for Spielberg. It's just perfect for him. If you follow along with like the production and you look at like the visual effects, you know, he wasn't going to use any CGI elements in the movie. He's going to do stop motion. Can you imagine stop motion in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, didn't Phil Tippett like do some early like claymation designs?
Yeah, he did some work on it.
He did. That's what they were going to do, and it was couple of guys at ILM was like, no, let me do a proof of concept for you. Let me do this, just a shot of the T-Rex running. And I think that's what sold him on it. And you perfectly connected it to the scene with Hammond with the ice cream. I wanted to show people something that they could see, something that they could touch.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what's so great about the first Jurassic Park is you can see it. And I know that dinosaur is there. I can see it. I can see the pupils dilating. I can see the breathing on that Triceratops.
Yeah.
And that's something that they don't have in the sequels. Did you guys know that how many visual effects shots, CGI elements do you think are in this movie?
Are we talking like frames or like just
I'm just saying like this is the shot of this movie.
Yeah.
The answer is it's like 60. There's like 60 in this movie. It's not a lot at all. And I think in Lost World they upped it to like 200 or 300, but in this one it's they were very strategic of where they were going to use these visual effect shots. But yeah, that animatronic T-Rex is so good.
Yeah,
it's the star of the movie. That's why he changed the ending to have the Tyrannosaurus come back one more time. He knew this is the star of the movie.
Did he use like animatronics still in Lost World, or like there's something off about that movie, or it's just not as good as the original?
There's a lot off with that movie. Lost World is it's ranked worse than Hook on my list.
Oh wow, yeah,
Lost
yeah.
Worlds, it's good. I think Spielberg would also say that he's a little complacent in it. Like he knew that this is going to be a hit. This is gonna be a huge movie, and it's. I don't want to say Papa Spiel, phoned it in a little bit, but he wasn't challenged. He wasn't challenged.
It was a little bit of a cash grab, probably. I mean, Jurassic Park was the biggest thing ever.
Jurassic Park was huge. I mean, you saw it in theater. Do you remember the boom of toys? The toy line?
Oh yeah.
Oh God. Not just toy line, like school folders and backpacks. It was everywhere. It was huge.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna be the coolest guy at school. I'm gonna wear my jean shirt and my khakis and tie a little red neckerchief and I just need a raptor claw, guys, and I'll this is gonna be great.
You were telling me that you have a little story about Lex,
how she got cast.
Yeah
My friend Patrick Reed Johnson, he directed a movie called Space Invaders.
Okay.
And it's early 90s. It's about a group of like little green Martians that land on Earth. And it's like a whole World of the Worlds thing. It's great. And he cast Ariana Richards as the lead role.
The granddaughter.
The hacker. Yeah, she's not a nerd. She's a hacker. She got cast in Jurassic Park because they saw the dailies of her in Space Invaders. So
wow.
It's a funny little connection. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Jurassic Park is one of those movies that I've always kind of had in my back pocket. I was thinking yesterday of how many versions of the movie have I bought. I watched the 4K cut last night. Before that, I did have the 3D cut. So I have seen the 3D version. I saw it. They released it for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And I saw that in theater. And I had a 3D TV and I did have a copy of the 3D Blu-ray too. So I've watched the 3D a few times. I didn't go to theater last weekend to see it though. I noticed so many different things in the 3D version that I had never seen in 20 years of watching the movie, and it was just background elements.
Yeah,
the shot when the Jeeps, when they first land on the island and the Jeeps are going through the first barricade of the fencing and stuff. I noticed the helicopter leaving in the background. I never saw that before. I never noticed that before, and I learned very quickly after that. And then last year when I saw Jaws in 3D, that if Spielberg decides to do a 3D version of something, it's going to be worthwhile. It's going to be good. Some care is going to go into it.
Is Jaws considered like the first summer blockbuster? Because me and Austin were talking about that. We're like unclear. It's like, what's the first summer blockbuster?
I love that Zach fact checked you on that.
Yeah,
because it's true. It was not Star Wars.
Okay. But I thought that the term blockbuster came from Star Wars. But it came from Jaws. Okay.
Yep.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
It did.
I mean, just 2 years before, though. I mean, around the same time.
It was the first time that I think society realized that a summer movie could kind of elevate itself to the zeitgeist of popular culture. Jaws had a bigger release than Star Wars did. Star Wars started out small and kind of word of mouth, and then it was huge. But Jaws was like, from the opening night, that thing was huge. The blockbuster, people around the corner. It changed everything. And I think that Jurassic Park, the first one, is kind of the last time I feel like we've had that. Like, has there been like another movie that kind of
Barbie?
Barbie, yes.
I mean, Barbie was definitely a blockbuster. I mean, I think that was the first time in a long time that I've gone to the theater and like felt like it was an event. Like people were going, like, let's go to this movie and like have a blast. It's like it'll be
a beach blast.
I just beach. I'm not lifeguard. I'm just beach. Yeah, that's a good comparison. I was also thinking of, and this is also, Jurassic Park came out at that perfect time of pre-internet, pre-social media. It was one of those movies where, how many times did you see it in the theater? I think I saw it like 4 or 5 times. It was just, what do you want to do tonight? I don't know. Is Jurassic Park playing again? Yeah, let's go see Jurassic Park again. It was huge.
Yeah, 93.
So I hit it at that perfect moment of also realizing that these actors are going to play different things. Because at that time, I knew like Arnold Schwarzenegger was like the biggest, and he's always the hero. He's always the good guy. And then I saw Jurassic Park and I was like, wow, Sam Neill's kind of this everyman. He's kind of a hero too. I like that. And then a few years later, he made a movie called Event Horizon.
Right. Yeah.
And I stayed up one night. It was on HBO. And I was like, ooh, Alan Grant is in space. This is going to be a great movie. Until he rips his own eyes out and tries to take everybody to hell with him.
Yeah.
My jaw was on the fucking floor. Like, my innocence was gone in that moment.
Yeah, Sam Neill has an incredible range. He's crazy in Possession and in the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah,
Mouth of Madness, even Omen 3, The Final Conflict. He's really great in that too.
So where does Jurassic Park rank on your list? There's how many Spielberg movies? Like, what's the number?
Been 32 movies. I have it as number 2.
Okay, Jaws and then Jurassic Park. That's solid.
Dang.
Top 5. This is now you're getting to hot take territory that I feel like you're gonna get hate mail for me for this one.
No, I want to hear it.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
That's number 5.
That's number 5.
Okay.
Then we have Saving Private Ryan.
Okay. Which I watched last night.
Did you like it?
I like it. I mean, those war scenes, you can't beat them. I mean, they're just incredible. I would just say that there's like signature Spielberg sappiness, like all those monologues. I'm also not a big fan of Matt Damon, and this like confirmed it once again. I just feel like
this keeps coming up on the podcast. You're just like a Matt Damon.
Austin's hatred of Matt Damon is a well-known subject.
It's like I don't want to hate him, but like there's just something about his acting style that just feels really forced to me. And like that whole scene where he's explaining like the last day he spent with his brothers, I'm like, all right. Like, there are just one too many monologues for me, but I do like it. I really do like it.
That's interesting. I don't remember like any monologue except the brother one. I don't really remember any monologue, and I just watched these movies.
There are a lot of really wild cameos in Saving Private Ryan. You've got
there are
Paul Giamatti, Ted Danson pops in there.
Bryan Cranston's in the beginning of the movie.
An armless Cranston.
Whoa.
I want a shirt, Austin, by the way, what you just said. You said, I don't want to hate them. It didn't have like whoever actor I don't like that week. I don't want to hate them, but they keep doing things that make me hate them.
Yeah, it's like Matt Damon seems like a nice guy. He seems like he's probably like a fine hang, but like as an actor, I can't get behind him.
Okay. So what's your number 3?
E.T.
Okay.
Yes.
Austin was saying how much he loves E.T.
I do love
E.T. is great. And the reason I said there's a hot take is if you notice, I said that Temple of Doom is the best Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a cool take, and I respect that a lot.
Thank you.
I think that might be the Indiana Jones I've rewatched the most. I was obsessed with it as a kid.
Me too. I had it on. It was taped off of HBO on a VHS that I just wore out, and I think that was the first Indiana Jones that I watched the most. So that's why I definitely have a stronger connection to that. And I have to defend that movie all the time. People are like, "What's wrong with you? Raiders is so much better." And I don't know. I just like Temple, man. You've got the whole temple. You've got the mine chase. Then you got the water. Then you got the
short round.
Short round. Oh,
he's lovable.
Academy Award winning short round.
Yeah, I also love the line Indiana Jones like, "We are going to die." He makes this nice frowny face.
Yeah, that face. We are going to die. Willie.
Yeah, I also want to get your take on the Fablemans, because we also talked about that early in this podcast. So I want to hear your Fablemans take.
I finally watched Fablemans. I didn't love it. Also, I'm biased because of 525/77. So I have to take myself out of it a little bit.
Wait, what's 525?
525/77 is a movie. Actually, Patrick Reed Johnson, who I said directed Space Invaders. He finally released his version of Fabelmans, his own true story. He was the first person outside of ILM to see Star Wars in the 70s. He was a kid that got flown to LA. He met Spielberg on the set of Close Encounters, and he got to see Star Wars being filmed, and he watched a black and white rough cut of it. So he's fan one. He's the first person to ever see it. So the movie is about him being a kid in the 70s, making Jaws 2 in his pool and wanting to be a filmmaker.
How much do you want to be a director, Patrick?
I want it more than anything I've ever wanted in my life.
Hi.
Are you really sure about this?
Do you need to be one? Then you might just make it.
You really think so?
If it can happen to me, it can happen to you.
Get out.
It's like a massively lower budget than the Fabelmans, but I think an argument could be made. Steven got the idea because of 525/77.
Interesting.
And I say that because Patrick has been kicking this movie around since 2004. And because Spielberg is in the movie, I know that he's shown the movie to like Kathy Kennedy, and he knows the man too. So I don't know. I just feel like a little bit the timing of the release of the Fabelmans was almost like, oh, 525 is finally getting out, and then boom, here's my story of becoming a filmmaker. So you kind of lose a little bit. So, well,
we should also say though that you edited it.
I did. I was one of the editors. There's several editors over the years, but I helped take it across the finish line. So I have to kind of take myself and my connection out of it when I properly review Fabelmans. I didn't love Fabelmans. I feel like just watching the HBO special on Spielberg's, I think it's called Spielberg on Spielberg, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
If you watch that, that's all you need to know. That Fabelmans was kind of just what I don't know what the real point of the movie was.
You don't want to hear about his mom and how she's banging Seth Rogen.
Yeah, but that's all in the documentary. That's like, I knew that story going into it. I was like, okay, Seth Rogen's like, all right. And I thought the performances were very good. I just didn't know what was the point of this movie. Like, yeah, I thought for sure, because I've read interviews and I've watched the behind the scenes of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the son sees Richard Dreyfuss in the bathtub and he's crying, and his son is like, you baby, you baby, you baby. And Spielberg says that that's a true story to what he said as a kid to his father. For the longest time, he blamed his father for his mother leaving.
Right.
Which, if you watch all of Spielberg's body of work, there's a common thread through those movies is broken families.
Right.
To bring it back to Jurassic Park, Park is a fractured family, but by the end of the movie, it's a family. He doesn't want kids, and now he's got 2 kids.
Right.
So it's through all of his work. So I was just very surprised that the Fabelmans is a movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's been a lot of weird kind of self-indulgent films in the last few years, like because people were so in their own head during the pandemic.
And that's why he came up with it. That's absolutely his reason. He said he didn't know if he was ever going to be making a movie again, and he's asked himself, if I could only make one more movie, what would it be? And he said it was going to be his story.
Well, Alex, so what are your bottom 5, starting with Spielberg's worst movie and then working up?
The last one, I got to go with 1941.
Okay.
It's his only comedy he's ever done.
Oh.
It's not for lack of trying.
A country's honor was at stake. The lives of millions would be protected by a brave few. This is their story. Universal Pictures and Columbia Pictures present an 18 production of a Steven Spielberg film. 1941.
It's a huge cast. You got Belushi, you've got Dan Aykroyd in it, and it's his attempt at comedy. It just doesn't really work. That was right before he made Raiders.
Oh, wow.
Raiders is actually a career pivot because of 41. Because, he did Jaws, he did Close Encounters, and he thought, I can do anything. I can do it all. So I'm going to make this high concept, high budget comedy. and he went over budget and over time. He shot too long, and the movie tanked. It wasn't very good. So his star faded after 41. And Raiders was kind of a pickup where he had to do less budget and less time to make the movie. And I think anytime you put a filmmaker in a corner like that, I think you get the best results versus just saying, here, you're going to have $100 bajillion and all the VFX you want. Make whatever you want. But if you have limits, I think that's where you get really, really creative. And then you have Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is, again, it came out of nowhere. It's the perfect time.
That's awesome.
So after 1941, I got to go with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's just, I know it's unfair. Well, it's not fair. It's a horrible movie. It's not good. I give it point. The reason it's not at the bottom is because Indiana Jones is in it. That's the only reason. Other than that, I would put this at the bottom of the barrel. It's not a good movie. And then next, I've got to go with Always.
He was the luckiest flyer alive. Then one day,
How did I get out of that one?
You didn't get out, Pete.
Well, you're dead or crazy.
Not crazy, Pete. Dead. That's right.
Always is another Richard Dreyfuss movie. It's about a pilot, one of these guys that fly into like forest fires and drop all those chemicals to neutralize the forest fire. He dies, and his ghost is back to guide somebody so that they can be a pilot themselves. It's kind of weird.
Doesn't sound very good.
Continuing down the list,
Sugarland Express.
Oh, that's his second movie, right?
Yeah, that is Goldie Hawn and William Atherton. They're good. The movie's just I'm not quite sure who I'm following. Am I rooting for the police? Am I rooting for these guys that just jumped out of prison? I don't really know. It's not as polished directing wise. So it's on the bottom of the list. I was glad I got to finally watch it, but it's low on the list. So those are my bottom 5.
I think you got one
more.
Oh, well, Lost World. I think Lost World was hampered a little bit by the novel.
Oh, okay.
Michael Crichton wrote The Lost World, and Spielberg said once that he set up the first Jurassic Park for the sequel to be about the Barbasol can. It's like it's covered with the mud, and it's like, oh, well, there's embryos in there. What do we do with those? That would have been his springboard for the sequel. But Crichton wrote The Lost World, and he felt, and this he's a classy guy. He is. He's like, oh, well, that's the story that the author wanted to tell, so that's the story I'm going to make.
Yeah.
I just don't think Lost World's that interesting. And one of my big hangups with any movie is just if you establish something in one movie and then you change it in another one, it pisses me off to no end. Lost World's like, oh, well, we made the dinosaurs. The line is Isla Nublar was park. Isla Sorna is was the factory floor. We bred them and then we transformed. That makes no sense to put the dinosaurs on a separate island to then transport them to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's a very risky process.
It's a stupid process. And you've got like the embryo, you got the eggs and on the tour and everything, which by the way, on the tour, because you brought up the John. Hello, John.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Was John Hammond's plan to always be on every tour doing that spiel, that shtick for every tour group?
Yeah, he had to do like 50 tours a day, just doing that bit over and over.
You're CEO of a biotech company, and now you have a theme park. You're busy. You're really busy. You shouldn't be doing this. Let Mr. DNA take it over from here.
And it's been a really long time since I've seen that, but don't like the dinosaurs like go into like the real world?
Yeah, at the end of the movie, they bring a T-Rex to San Diego, and he runs amok for about 20 minutes, and then that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Again, cool. And when I was 12, I was like all on board this, but when I sit back and I watch it, I go, oh, this isn't Fast and the Sniff Test anymore.
So yeah, do you have any final thoughts about Spielberg or Jurassic Park? Both.
I think that this was definitely a career highlight of Spielberg's, without question. Everything changed after Jurassic Park. I mean, if you look at the movies that came out in '93, and look at what the visual effects looked like in every other movie in '93, this is the original Super Mario Brother territory. You know, that's what the dinosaurs should have looked like.
Yeah. Like the Goombas.
The Goombas, yes, that's what we were playing with. So the fact that the movie holds up so well is just a testament to everything firing on all cylinders. Everything is perfect in this movie. Everything,
it really is.
The cast is great. I mean, he wanted Harrison Ford to play Grant.
Oh wow!
But Sam Neill is so perfect. Sam Neill
really
is perfect in this movie.
Yeah.
So everybody's at the height of their career. You got Stan Winston, John Williams. I mean, we didn't even talk about the score. This was the first movie to me that I was like, I want the soundtrack. I went out and got the cassette tape of Jurassic Park. It was so huge. And would the movie be as good without John Williams' score? And of course it would be, but that score is so iconic, man.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
I can't imagine the movie without that score. I mean,
it plays so much into the emotional moments of it. Yeah,
it's like almost impossible to separate the two.
Also, I love the production design.
Oh, the production design, the visitor center. It's a beautiful location. Everything.
Yeah, every set looks so good.
Every place they go to on that island, it looks so good.
And down to the design of the cars as well.
Oh, I wanted that Ford Explorer, man. I wanted that Ford Explorer with the green and red and yellow decal on the side of it. I wanted that.
It looks so good.
Yeah, everything is just perfect. It's a perfect moment in time when the movie came out. It just changed everything. When I think of Spielberg, I think of Jaws, I think of Indiana Jones, and I think of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And I think those are going to be his heaviest hitters on his filmography. And with good reason. I think an E.T. We got their E.T. in there too.
For sure.
Because it's an amazing film. It's hard to dissect it because again, we're just going to go into every aspect of the movie, the score, the production design. It's just, I loved it. I just loved it, man. I appreciate you having me on to rant and rave about Jurassic Park. Oh, one other thing. Sandra reminded me that on one of our first dates, and one of the reasons why she's like, oh, I think I want to go on a second date with this guy. We're at a bar after several drinks. And I took her hand and I started doing the
chaos theory flirt,
the Goldblum.
Yeah. So see, tiny, a little pores in your skin, the orientation of your skin, and never the same and always changing. Yeah. So she's like, yeah, perfect. Jurassic Park has been a part of your life for a very long time.
Amazing. Well, that's a very romantic end to this conversation. Alex, thank you so much for illuminating and educating us on Spielberg. You did the deep dive, you did the work. We needed to give you a place to express your findings, and I'm so glad that you did. Thanks for giving us your time here.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
Nice meeting you, Zach. Don't be a stranger now.
All right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. And we are also on social media at Film with Family. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube.
And if you want to send us an email us at filmwithfamilypodcast@gmail.com and let us know what your favorite dinosaur is.
And you can also follow us on Letterboxd, see what me and Austin are watching in real time. Austin C. Pruett and zacharyzweifler are our handles. We love the movies.
And we love our dinos.
Hey.
And we love our family.
Happy birthday, JP. We love you.
Steven, you're the master.
You're the Fableman.
You are the Fableman.
The Fableman can.
The Fableman can.
Who could make dinosaurs into a movie? The Fableman can.